said that, Gary, cholesterol, I like to just bring that up for a minute, because I think, a lot of doctors, a lot of cardiologists, and most people are still believing that that's a relevant and important number to look at and so on. Cholesterol, HDL, LDL. What's your take on that, Gary?
Well, I mean, I think cholesterol is one of the most maligned and misunderstood compounds in the human body, right? So if we get back to the basics, well, first of all, what is cholesterol? Well, first of all, it's not a fuel source, right? The body cannot use cholesterol for energy. So then what is it? It's a construction material. We use it to build every cell wall, every cell membrane. We use it to build hormones, and we use it to make the single most important nutrient in the human body by far, which is vitamin D3. Right, we actually make vitamin D3 from sunlight and cholesterol. Right, it is the only vitamin that a human being can make on our own. There's hundreds of vitamins in your bloodstream right now. Your body is only capable of making one. So just think about how important that must be to human function if it's the only nutrient that your body makes on its own. And so, getting back to cholesterol, if you look at the peer-reviewed published clinical literature, you will see virtually zero evidence linking elevated levels of LDL cholesterol on its own to cardiovascular disease. You generally have to have a corresponding increase in triglyceride. And why is that? That's because if we really look at cholesterol as a construction material, building cell walls, cell membranes, hormones, vitamin D3, what happens is on the surface of cholesterol, for a very simplistic explanation, you have a triglyceride, you have a blood fat. Right? So fat is kind of transported around the body on the surface of cholesterol, triglyceride is. So if I increase the amount of fat in the blood, I decrease the particle size of cholesterol. So in other words, as triglyceride goes up, the size of cholesterol gets smaller and more dangerous. The smaller lipoproteins, beta lipoproteins, lipoprotein A, the small lipoproteins that pass through the arterial wall, get eaten by a macrophage, and start this process of narrowing of the arteries, plaquing, scarring, atherosclerosis. And these are glycated cholesterol. They're cholesterol that usually has been exposed to seed oil, and they are small particulate cholesterol. If you bring triglyceride down, the size of the cholesterol molecule gets larger and it gets safer. This is why statins, we knew in the mortality space that statins were an impact on all-cause mortality because they would affect hormonal function, they would affect the integrity of cell walls, of cell membranes, the production of vitamin D3, and unless there was a specific necessity, like a hypercholesterolemia that was not manageable by diet. In some cases, I'm a fan of statins, but in very, very rare cases, majority of the time, because the liver produces 85% of all the cholesterol in our bloodstream, we can manage our cholesterol level through diet. And by the way, it's not the amount of cholesterol that we eat. There is no link between dietary intake of cholesterol and serum concentration of LDL cholesterol. It's too large to pass through the luminal wall of the intestine. So LDL cholesterol by itself is not a marker for cardiovascular disease. We have to look at the level of triglyceride. If you have triglycerides low and slightly elevated LDL cholesterol, we knew that was a marker for longevity. If you had high LDL cholesterol and low triglycerides, by low triglycerides, I meant triglycerides at 75 nanograms per deciliter or less, I would extend your life expectancy. In fact, if you look at the Blue Zone research, the majority of those centenarians have clinically elevated levels of LDL cholesterol. So why are they living beyond age 100 with healthy levels of cholesterol, with high levels of cholesterol? Because cholesterol is at the scene of a lot of crimes. It does not pull the trigger.
That's funny. I said that to somebody today.
You did?
Yeah, I said, imagine that your blood vessel, your artery is like a wall, and there's a big scrape down it, and then, from some trauma, from some inflammation, and then your body's trying to stick cholesterol on it to fix it up. It's not the cause. It's trying to solve the problem.